Vasyl Lomachenko has to be regarded as one of the greatest and skillful boxing champions of the last 10 years, with an amateur record of 396-1 and becoming a 3-weight world champion in just 12 professional fights. The Ukrainian's training routine and unorthodox techniques have definitely played a part in him reaching the pinnacle of the sport. In this video today, I'll be taking a closer look at Lomachenko's training routines, including his boxing drills, strength and conditioning, the mental drills, and nutrition. So on that note, let's get right into it. First up, let's look at Lomachenko's actual training routine. This is gathered from boxing media, pre-fight camp documentaries, and interviews with Lomachenko. Now it's important to note that Lomachenko is a full-time fighter who implements this routine for a title fight, but you can definitely take some of these elements into your own training. So, between 5 and 6 AM, he gets up for his morning run. Between 6 and 8 AM, he'll have a shower and work with his sports psychologist and do some mind drills. 10 AM, he'll have his breakfast and rest. Between 12 and 2, he'll do strength and conditioning, or swimming, or some sort of additional cardio. Between 2 and 6, he'll have his lunch and sleep and rest. And then between 6 and 8 PM, he'll obviously do his boxing related workouts, which include sparring, mitt work, or going the double end bag. From 8 PM onwards, he'll obviously have his post-workout meal, focus on recovery, go over his strategy with his dad, Vasyl Lomachenko, and sleep, with sometimes the additional mind drill exercises. His training routine has changed over time, which I will discuss, but even Lomachenko has admitted to changing this routine as it gets closer to fight night. As he said in his interview with GQ, a training day is extremely regimented, but as I get closer to the fight, I might cut out the morning workout and just train in the afternoon and evening. The interesting thing about this training routine is how different it is to most typical boxers, especially with the introduction of mind-related drills for other sports, which I will discuss in a second. Cardio. As mentioned, and like any top professional boxer, a morning run is usually an essential aspect for their training. By getting up at 5 AM, Lomachenko starts the day very early with a 30-minute to an hour run. This can also include short interval sprints, or hill runs too. This helps to force the body into a catabolic state, therefore usually means you'll be able to lose a few extra pounds. This is a great thing for boxers like Lomachenko, as it helps cut and maintain weight as they approach the fight. However, in more recent interviews, the Ukrainian has stated how he does not run as much as he used to. Instead, he does other athletic activities such as swimming, skipping, beach volleyball, or beach sprints. I can only imagine this is because running can damage the cartilage in your knees over time if done too often. So this is probably why he tries to incorporate other cardio-related activities. It also means he keeps his training fresh and different, which can only be a good thing. Loma's mental training. Let's get into the more complex part of his training, and he does this with his sports psychologist. If you ever heard of the saying boxing is 80% mental, this is very much the case, as there are so many mental elements to this sport. This could include the pressure of an opponent trying to literally knock you out, forces you to think quickly, and to be able to change your strategy. All these mental tasks help to improve Lomachenko's concentration while he's still fatigued from his workouts. The Shult Table. Lomachenko will often work on using the Shult Table, which was originally created by a German psychologist, Walter Shult. This is a grid of 25 randomly distributed digits to help train the peripheral vision, speed reading, and visual perception. You basically need to find all the numbers up to 25. It can be quite distorting, as the blocks and numbers can be in different colours and can be hard to find quickly. This really helps to train your mind and vision to work quickly. When it comes to boxing, this can help Lomachenko to be one step ahead of his opponent, to quickly react to what is in front of him. Math exercises. Lomachenko has also been seen to use math calculations with blocks, where he has to work out and match the answers. This form of mental training is to keep him constantly maintaining his focus when physically fatigued from his training. Therefore, this helps translate into the ring when he starts to physically get fatigued. He's able to think sharply. You can also argue it gives him more mental capacity to work out solutions when inside the boxing ring. This has made sense over his career, as he has completely picked apart some opponents. Balance and coordination drills. Loma has also been seen to use Jenga blocks, where he gets asked to match and move blocks at the same time with both hands. This helps the Ukrainian become more ambidextrous with both hands, while also helping his mental coordination. By being able to balance the pieces of Jenga, it helps his mind to create balance and to process and react to what is in front of him while using both hands at the same time, just like when you're in a boxing ring. This is what Loma's sports psychologist Andrei Kolozov had to say about why they do some of these drills. These are special exercises for mind flexibility. Just imagine you do these after 3 hours after training and you need to relax your mind. This is where he switches from muscle work to intelligence work. This is a way of improving your thinking. Reaction lights. Lomachenko was certainly one of the first boxers to be seen using reaction lights before they became mainstream. This is used by Loma's team to simply improve his reflexes. As the light forces you to react as quickly as possible to the lights flashing, this translates into the ring, so the Ukrainian is trained to react quickly to his opponent's movements or punches. Holding breath underwater. Another bizarre training method we've seen Lomachenko using is holding his breath underwater. He's said to have managed to do this for 4 minutes before resurfacing, which I can only imagine to be a very difficult thing to master. But why does the Ukrainian star do this? Well, in his own words in an interview with GQ magazine, he said, "My record is 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I did that before the second Olympic Games in 2012. It took me years to reach that level. Right now I can hold my breath for about 3 minutes, but if I've trained every day to do it, I believe I could break my record. It's how you gain control over the fight and your opponent. Because of this, I'm as strong in the 12th round as I am in the first." Underwater exercises train your mind and your psychology. It's helped me. Now, the underwater training technique is therefore used for the psychological element of Lomachenko's training. It basically helps the former Olympian to become more aware of his senses, while also potentially stopping heavy breathing while he gets deeper into the rounds in a competitive bout. Please note, I do not recommend you try this underwater training unless you are with someone else. Boxing training. Now let's go over the actual boxing training Lomachenko works on. Now, as much as Loma has some very unorthodox training techniques, he still does all the old school boxing training. He'll use the heavy bag, just like any boxer, and has been seen to use punch combinations, power shots, and is also very good for your muscle conditioning for your shoulders. Another traditional piece of kit Loma likes to use is the double M bag. This obviously helps to improve his reflexes and punch timing. Loma will also use pad work with his trainers, but from looking at training footage online, it will mainly be to help him train for specific combinations or defensive movements. For sparring, like any great champion, this is a necessity, and this is no different for Loma. I have to admit, it must be hard to get sparring partners that are able to really push someone of Lomachenko's ability. Nevertheless, this will still help Lomachenko with real fight situations, even if his sparring partners can't handle him. Another thing most boxers will do, and Loma is no different, is shadowboxing, and is a joy to watch as he uses various punching combinations and intelligent footwork while he does this. It's no wonder he's such a master in the ring. Finally, we'll often see him use the reflex ball, which is just like the double end bag and is a great way for reflexes, timing, and hand-eye coordination. This tool is best for a very quick warm-up or warm-down while he's still working on his boxing skills. Strength and conditioning. Now, having come from an Olympic background, Lomachenko has always been familiar with strength and conditioning work. Looking at footage online, he's been seen to do a lot of body weight related exercises along with some use of gym equipment. This includes things like press-ups, pull-ups, gymnastic ring press-ups, core work, and battle rope work. Diet and recovery. As many of you know, it's sometimes outside the gym that is just as important. Having a well-balanced diet is key for your overall recovery, so you can continually perform in the gym. In the case of Lomachenko, a typical day will look like this. For breakfast, he'll have oatmeal with fresh berries, nuts or bananas, with fresh squeezed orange juice, eggs or an omelette and a cup of coffee. For lunch, you'll have vegetable or meat soup or pasta and chicken. Snacks, you'll tend to stick to water, and I imagine you'll probably have things like protein shakes and other nutritional supplements. For dinner, you'll have a seafood dish with salad. In terms of recovery methods and rest days, Lomachenko is aware of the importance of this, and he discussed what he does on his off days with GQ. I'm a big fan of recovery massages. I also juggle tennis balls and do exercises with limited muscle involvement. It's very important to eat well-balanced meals, and it's perhaps most important to get a good night's rest. The next day's workout begins the previous night. Additional training in sports. On top of everything else Lomachenko will do, he will try to change up his training activities. This is no doubt to help his athletic physical abilities and to keep his training fun and fresh. Boxing can be a very repetitive sport at times, which is a necessity. However, being able to try different sports helps Loma to stay motivated and enjoy his training camps. This has included things like gymnastics, dancing, swimming, canoeing, beach volleyball, football, badminton, and even basketball. Final thoughts. To conclude, Lomachenko, in my opinion, has to have one of the most versatile and interesting training camp routines in the sport. His father, Anatoly Lomachenko, is definitely the brains behind it all, making his son arguably one of the most all-round complete boxers by giving him lots of different variation in his training, including the physical and mental. If you're looking for an example to follow, I definitely recommend taking up some of Lomachenko's training regime, especially if you're looking to improve your mental performance or reflexes. And that wraps up this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Lomachenko's training regime. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If there's another boxer's training routine you'd like me to cover, comment below as well. As always, guys, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.